We're at Bean Scene. So whoever's watching this, you're watching a recording while I just set things up. And you're going to hear some background noise because this is an echoey room. So bear with us as I just post this link in a few different spots and then we'll get started. Oh, there I am.
You guys had like a system that you're promoting before, right?
Yeah, we'll still do that.
Yeah.
No, to now.
And it has an online system attached to it.
Yeah.
Have you been promoting that at all?
It's something, yeah, it's something.
But like online?
Online. Right, because I'm still challenged with this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, hopefully we can get
I'm
it.
challenged.
We all have challenge.
That's what we're here.
But it's like, I was fortunate to grow up in the age of where
Yeah.
you learn computers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people send a lot more.
Yeah.
So I'm also going to be inviting some guys from my team on as well because I think they have some questions too. So we're going to be covering a whole bunch of different stuff.
Cool.
So are you in network marketing as well, and that's what you're trying to do?
Yes.
I'll just do that for now. Whenever it comes to tagging people, I know there's a handful, but I can only remember a couple. Okay.
So, Sandy, do you have a business that you promote too?
No, I just finished writing a book, and that's what I wanted to promote.
Cool.
And
Awesome.
so anyway, that's,
Okay.
and they, for everything, I know Facebook is one of the best ways. I mean, I've been on Facebook, but I've never used ads on Facebook or anything
Yeah.
like that, so.
Yeah. We don't need any experience to start.
So anyway, that's why I'm curious about it.
Yeah. Do you have a fan page or anything yet?
I have a page,
Yeah.
and it's, I've just got a couple likes on there yet because I'm moving over friends, but I'm telling people individually because, and then, if they go over there and like it, if they want and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I only make up one post, and, I've got a link to, the Amazon, to where it's on Amazon
Oh,
and stuff like that. So I'm, I'm just getting it going, so I'm not sure that I'll advertise right away. I mean, I need a couple of reviews and maybe some more posts or whatever. I was just gonna, see what you guys have to say. Although at the same time, you gotta get it. I mean, I have only so many friends and that I can get over there.
Exactly.
They'll jump on and like it and everything, but they don't want to hear me babbling about something that maybe they're not really interested in. So.
It's good to have their support though, that way.
Yeah, that's right. But I don't know if I should, reach out with ads until I have more people on there or I don't know. It's a really catch-22.
Yeah.
It takes time,
Mm-hmm.
any of that. I mean, it's like on Amazon, I mean, you need to get reviews, but you need to get the book out there and get the people reviewing first. So.
Yeah.
Do some sort of free promotion or something to.
Yeah.
Get some
like,
people.
have some little,
Yeah.
well, you pay for that on
Like-
Amazon too. So.
You want to try?
There's so many avenues where you
Yeah.
get paid, like I have a website I'm into and
Yeah, that's
I,
what I was looking for.
like, I pay on Amazon
You
for ads, and I pay on
for
Facebook for ads, and I can, I'm sure I get to Google, search too, but, it's just like.
There's really so many ways you can do this stuff.
Yeah, I know, so
It's-
it's kind of where I'm just kind of learning right now
Mhm.
and deciding 100%. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'll use Facebook number one because of everything I've heard. That it's, it brings in more people than say Instagram or Pinterest or any of those, like they say, you have to have success.
Yeah. Well, it's like different points of contact, and it's like there's so many different things. Like actually, I would say right now there's probably a handful of things that we can all focus on, like with our businesses and like platforms. And it's like, I was thinking about it today. It's like Facebook, Instagram, like they're one and the same. They're owned by the same company.
Yeah.
But like Snapchat, Twitter, YouTube, email, like these are all platforms. But like you look at CNN, at Fox, those are the old media outlets. Like this is the new media outlets. Yet not everyone knows how to advertise on them, and anyone can advertise on them or use them like completely effectively. So it's kind of like it doesn't like it matters, but it doesn't matter which one you choose. It's just like you choose one, you start there, and then you add stuff as the business gets bigger.
You know, because I'm doing things locally too. I mean, you know, I just started doing all that too, giving out books to people, you know, connected to what I'm doing and stuff like that. So I mean, there's that whole side of it too. But you know, if you really want to hit a larger audience and you want to extend outside of your own market area, then you know, like Facebook, it's the or you know, things like that.
Yeah. I think you'll get some ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a few people joining us here. Hey guys, we were just having a little side conversation. We've got some people in the room with us live, just talking about their businesses as well. Thank you for joining us. I'm kind of doing this just off the cuff. However, I feel like sharing what I know. So the first thing I wanted to go into, I think, is just talking about finding your audience. This is how I went and found my audience, and Josh here actually kind of shared this stuff with me as well. So I should probably share my screen first. That might help. Let's see here. Oh, good. There's a bunch of background noise that just turned off. Awesome. Okay. So we got Brian and we've got Dual Geeks. Not sure who Dual Geeks is, but thank you for joining us. So if you guys can see my screen, everything's working for you guys. You can see everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you guys ever seen this other than last week? Okay. So this is Facebook for business, right? This is what you're going to see when you open your ads account, when you get everything set up. Again, I shared in the last video that there are videos that'll show you how to settle this up really easily. So once you're in here, this is your main toolbar. This is where all the different tools are, right? There's your Adverts Manager, your Power Editor. These are both similar as with what you can do. This is how you edit your ads, make new ads, make changes, that kind of stuff, see all your numbers and everything like that. These are your page posts, right? So currently on this ad account, I don't know if page posts will show up or if the internet will load them. Yeah, so these are a bunch of posts that I've actually used for ads in the past. So these are what's called a dark post, right? So I can actually come in here and I can create a post that won't ever appear on my business page. It will only appear as sponsored video or whatever on Facebook, right? So like if somebody comes to my page, they won't ever see this. They'll only see it shown up in front of them. So I could literally make a video or a post and place it in Atlanta, Georgia, and only those people will ever see it. So the way to do this is by creating a post, and you can choose photo or video. I prefer videos just because I can get my message across better that way. And then there should be videos that'll show up here. Bear with me, this internet's a little slow. So there's a bunch of old videos. None of them are necessarily ones I would use for an ad, but let's say I go with this one, right? Select this one. You can change the thumbnail to whatever you want. You can even make your own custom one if you want to have something written in it. And then, as I shared last week, you write your text, and once you create this post, it'll show up here. It'll have this ID number. And then from there, you can go and create your ad and just use that as what's called a dark post. So again, it won't appear on your page or anything like that. Okay, so now I wanted to hop over into audience insights. So when I learned this is what everything changed for me. So this is where you can actually figure out who it is you want to place your ad in front of, and then, you know, see what they're into, how they behave, all this stuff, right? Like Facebook has so much information on everybody on its platform that there's so many different variables you can add into here. So for me personally, I target the US. I've attempted Canada and the US, but I've only really had success in the US, so I just stick to the US. And I'm looking for ages 24, maybe to be the youngest. Specifically, Facebook does different gaps, so you can have 25 to 34, and it'll show, like, let's say 1,000 people view your ad. It'll show you which age ranges are viewing it the most. So then from there you can see the breakdown, and it'll show you what region they're in, all this different stuff, right? So for me, I've seen the most results from 25 to 34. So I just stick to that. I've had some people interested in older age ranges, but obviously I'm looking for people who are like-minded and like me, because it's gonna be easier to get them involved. And as far as the interests, it kind of just comes down to what you are interested in. If you're in a network marketing business, I know for your book, what sort of book is it? Like, what sort of people are you looking, or like, do you think would be interested in your book?
It's a true story, but it's a story, but it has a lot of self-help in it.
Mhm.
So, and it's on, depression and suicide and stuff like that. So it's a dark subject in some ways. So there's definitely a target market. I don't know the age group yet.
Yeah.
Because it kind of is it affects various ages. So
Absolutely.
and I don't know who would,
So with that being said, we could help you figure out something right now. We could figure out who your audience is, and we could try, between 20 to 60, because it's broad. And essentially what you're doing with that is you're going to test, right? So you're going to see who would really be interested in offering, right? Yeah. So you could do 20 to 60, test that for a couple of weeks, and then from there you can see the breakdown, right? So that's what I did. So I did 20 to 60, and then I found 25 to 34 was where the most people were interested.
Right.
So afterwards, right, so it's going to take a little bit of money to, I call it building your audience. So you're really just trying to figure out who's interested by just kind of testing things out, make it very broad. And then after you've got some numbers, you can really break down your business and your metrics and your numbers and all that.
Yeah.
Then you can go more detailed, and then, just refine things from there. And that's where it gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. At the start, it's a little more expensive because you don't know, and Facebook also doesn't know. So after a while, Facebook will have built an audience with you, and then you will have trained Facebook's artificial intelligence to go out and find more and more people like that. So obviously you could do US and Canada.
Is it like all mental health? Is there any like spiritual aspect of it? Or?
Yes. Yes, there is a spiritual aspect, but a lot of it's mental health related, but definitely, there's parts of the story where the spiritual side had to come in to recover.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
So what books would you say are maybe similar to yours, or maybe some authors that people who would be interested in your book would also be interested in other authors or other books?
That's a really good question, and I should look that up,
Mm-hmm.
on Amazon and pick up, some. I mean, I know there's a couple of books that I went with because, one of the recovery routes that I used was something called tapping, and there's a book out there, the tapping solution.
Yeah.
And it's huge, so I mean, definitely those people, would get something from it. So there are, but they're kind of related, subjects.
But it would never be the exact same, but it'll be related, and the audience is overlapping.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you want to know, that's just an one chapter where I talk about how this happened type of thing.
Yeah.
And then if they want to know more about it happening, go to here, I recommend, other people's books. So there is other people's books, they're not the same, right? But
So there's certain ways, like, you could find an author or a book that certain people are interested. Like, let's say there's one author out there that talks about similar things as you.
right.
You could essentially pick that interest, right? You could pick that author as an interest, and then you could write your ad copy around that audience, right? So you could have words out of that book, maybe write it in certain ways that are similar to that author.
Right.
And then those people who have read that book are now going to be a little more, aligned with what you're saying because they've already kind of read that. Right?
Absolutely, I never thought of that. That's an excellent book. Excellent point.
Yeah. So who's an author, for an example?
So Nick Ortner would be one, there's another one I can't remember her name.
Was his name Nick Ortner?
Yeah, Nick Ortner, O-R-T-N-E-R.
Hey, Nick Ortner. Cool. So now you can see here, like, people who are interested in Nick Ortner, 92% of them are women. So right off the bat, you could just only target women
Right.
instead of targeting men and women.
Absolutely, and I think this book it's written by women, it's a women's
Yeah.
story, so it probably, registers much more so.
Mhm.
So I never thought that, yeah. you wanna-
Again, that would come down to testing as well.
Yeah.
So you can
yeah.
test both, but yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is you can see what these people are into as well, different lifestyle things. Let's see, page links. So this is another one, right? So I did something similar for when I started running ads. I took a certain blog that's very popular, and then I picked him, right? I put him in as an interest, and then I found 10 more interests here, or pages that are similar. So anybody who's interested in Nick Ortner is also likely interested in these things.
I have to get closer so I can read it.
Right here, let's see if I can zoom in.
Look at, oh, isn't it, yeah,
Is that okay? You want more?
no, that's good.
Okay. Right, so you can see all these
All over the
different,
map, they're
all these
all-
different interests.
Yeah,
So this is where testing things out comes.
Yeah.
So now knowing this, you could say write down 10 of these interests,
yeah,
go and put an ad that's 20 to 60, all of Canada, all of the US, try Nick Ortner as well, and then try 10 more of these, and then run each of them at $5 a day. Okay, and then after a couple of days, see which ones maybe got some traction. So what I did,
so do this, tell me this game, so you picked, you started like, say, Canada, US, picked the ages, that's
Yep.
broadband, interests, maybe within a couple of things, and then you said, or you took some alternating scenarios to see which one actually brought up the most, or,
I kept it pretty broad,
You kept it
so
pretty
very
broad.
similar to what we're doing now.
right?
I had a video and I had a written ad copy, that's what we call it, ad copy, right? And I tested it against 10 interests that
10
were
interests.
similar to the one
10
that I had
Okay,
originally put in.
yeah,
And then based on the results, right, I was looking for comments or leads, and Facebook showed me a couple that had some comments and then some that didn't. So the ones that didn't have any comments, I scratched them off the list, never to touch again. And then the ones that did have some comments, I tested again with a different ad copy and was just basically refining from there to get those numbers down. So it was about, if I can remember correctly, $7.87 or something. So I took that one, I rewrote it, I changed some of the age ranges,
Yeah.
and then from there I found which one was getting the cheapest, and then I got that number down to under $2.
how many were you acquiring that made comments, or you said comments, did any
Yeah.
comments or likes or?
There was people liking, there was people commenting. I prefer likes because I can send a message to them directly, right? So, like, let's say for you, if you don't even have to do anything with Amazon. You could literally run everything just on Facebook, where you can run a promotion, like, hey, the first 20 people to comment here, I'll give you a free book. And if you have a stock of 20 books, then you just message them, get them to read it. Like, the only thing I ask is maybe for the review. It's an idea.
Yeah.
So I've actually, I've run my business with generating leads to a landing page where they enter their email. And I've also done it just strictly on Facebook, where I'm messaging them and I'm getting them on the phone. And
you see, I don't care to go any much further than,
yeah,
I mean, this is pretty, like, all I want to do is capture them and have them buy the book. I mean, it's not,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to.
Yeah, no.
sell them into a
Yeah, for sure.
same
Yeah.
as you, so it's,
Yeah.
it's quite different, say. than-
You're trying to sell them into a book, so you are trying to, same idea, but you want them to buy a book.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
the
I
same
want-
idea.
So, yeah,
Our outcome is different, but your outcome is the same.
yeah,
The end result is you want to purchase.
yes, so I guess, so you still think you have to do all, you have to keep
Mhm.
refining down and sending out more ads to go save people and stuff like that to get them to do.
You should get a different person, is that correct? The ad, you should tweet the ad, you get another, bunch of different people then? You tweet
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, like I've got an ad that had like 450 individual comments, over 200 individual likes, and like 80 shares, all this stuff, right? So those are all individual people. Each one of them I treat as a lead. The most qualified leads are the people who comment because I can send them a message directly. The other ones, I kind of have to add them as a friend to my personal page, and sometimes they don't always respond.
Right.
But for you, you could essentially run it the exact same, where you just get people to comment, and from there, you're just like, hey, what's your address? I'll send you the book. All I ask is that you leave me a review.
Right.
And then at least you're getting it out there, and from there, you know, it's kind of a way to start. It's an idea. Like I don't know how you feel about it, but
That's definitely something to think about, yeah.
and then you know, after a while, you figure out who's really interested. You know, you see the age ranges. After you've tested 20 to 60 all over the U.S., maybe there's certain people just in the U.S. who are 44 and over, and they're the only ones who are really biting.
Yeah.
Then from there, you can stop spending money on putting it in front of the younger people, and then just focus on 44 and older, only on the East Coast. Like sometimes that's how it works too. It's just like it's states, it's regions. But then, yeah, it just comes down to really testing everything.
And what kind of money are you looking at to do something?
It's all up to you. Yeah, you could spend $5 a day, like whatever your monthly budget is, figure that out. I think something that you know, you're like, I'm okay with throwing this, like you're not throwing it away. It's an investment, you're just collecting data. And then from there, you can finally like tweak things to really detailed target people.
But what would you, I guess it's hard to say, how much would you say you spent on that initial work? $5 a day, $100, $200, $500, like to kind of as a.
Like how much did I spend on my ad?
Yeah.
So
to kind of, you know, get those.
Oh, okay. So when I first started running, like I was all over the place. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't doing things right at all. I was bouncing back, doing different videos. Like I wasn't doing it right where I was like tweaking one thing. I would test a video and a whole ad and then just scrap it and do a new one. Right? So I spent tons of money, thousands of dollars. I don't even really want to talk about it. No, I'm just kidding. In the end, it was worth it because then I can teach people what not to do. But for this, when I first did this, it kind of just took off right away, to be honest. So to really.
Because you say $5 a day, and that's going out to how many people? Or that depends on.
Yeah, $5 a day. Let's see. Actually, we can figure that out.
I'm jumping in asking all these questions.
Oh no, it's fine. Like we can talk about your guys' stuff right after too.
No, I'm okay with this. We're still learning.
Yeah, like a lot of this really applies to pretty much everyone, right? It's just little differences here. So,
How many would you get because you want target words, like things that your target market is saying have peak things that she's wanting, and
Yeah.
peak things up.
And you think about your audience too, like Toby was saying, it's an investment, right? So it's like, once you start building your audience, it's something you have forever, unless they unlike page. But like if they're gonna do it, or they're never gonna buy from you. And with that audience too, because it's an asset, it's not just the book you're selling, and it's yourself, it's your story, and that leads to a whole journey, like with your or whatever product that you're promoting. So it's like, say you start asking the question, it's like, what more value can I provide this audience base, this customer base? What we can ask them, what do you want? Like where are you at? Like if they're struggling with like stuff that's going on inside, it's like, and techniques to help them get through those situations. So there's a lot more you can offer as they come through, like what I call the offer path. So you have like some up front, and then you continue on, and it's like so it's like unlimited what you can do as they go on, but like the money you spend in, it's an investment and it continues to build your asset, which is your audience and kind of I'm in this for the long term. Like say 10 years from now, I'm still promoting this book. Like it's part of my asset. It's part of my arsenal of what I offer this world.
Yeah.
And I'll show you guys something else really, really cool that I learned recently. That apparently, like, even people who have been marketing on Facebook for a long time don't know. So for me to know it, it's pretty cool. So this is just creating the ad. I'm just gonna create your ad, kind of. We'll just see how many people you could actually reach for $5 a day. US and Canada, 20 to 60. Let's say they're all women. English language. And with those interests that I showed you before on the audience networks, some of them might not actually show up in here. So you just want to go over and just double check that they're actually going to show up as an interest. So what was that, Nick Ortner?
Yeah.
Nick Ortner. Okay, so he showed up. So there you've got an audience of 630,000 people who are interested in Nick Ortner. Now, let's see here. Would you be comfortable with spending in a month on ads?
Well, let's just say $100 to start with, just to see what, is that gonna be enough?
$100?
Well,
See what happens.
Yeah, so what's that?
Oh, so then
Oh, that
you
would-
get it by the day or?
Oh yeah, just per day. So
Oh, you just need
100
per
divided
day.
by 30.
Okay,
But
let's do that. Okay, well, would they do those lower ones or?
But you can do $3 if it's a page post engagement, but like
$5, okay, well, let's do $5.
I would do 5 minimum.
Okay, okay.
So let's say
I mean,
5.
I'm being cheap to start with, because I don't know how much I want.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I think if you can like if you can make it work that you're testing say 3 different audiences a day, which is 3 ads, so that's $15 a day. You can make that work. That's kind of ideal because then you can get a lot of data over 30 days.
And when you think about it, $50, it just, when you add it up, it's a lot, $50.
Yeah, it's $4.50, right?
Yeah,
So it's
that's
like
what- yeah,
if you can make that work, like
yeah,
that's all.
So
that's
these
all.
are your estimated daily results. 220 to 1,300 people a day.
different people,
Yep, all individual people.
right,
So at $5 a day, that's the potential reach.
right.
It's hard to say what'll actually happen, but that's what
Yeah.
Facebook estimates.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of a feel for that.
Huh, cool.
So let's say you get 100 people who, whether you just put up a written post or even a video, whatever it is, let's say 100 people have liked it. Now you can do some pretty cool stuff. So we're gonna go into here, it's called audiences. Okay. And this is the ninja stuff that really, really is changing things. So a custom audience right here, right? If you want to take a pic too, I'll just leave it. All right, so you can create a custom audience and you can go based on engagement. So like, let's say you're running an engagement post. You want people to comment on your post. Oh, stuff's changed a little bit. Video. I don't have a, okay, we'll just go with video. So let's say 2,000 people have watched 95% of my video. 95% is a lot, right? So let's say I have a 6-minute video and people have watched 95% of it. That means they're pretty interested in what I'm talking about, right? So what you can do then is you can create a custom audience. You can figure out who's watched the video that much, and then just name this. I gotta choose a video. So go. Okay. So this is a video that 188,000 people have viewed. This was an ad that I was running. So I can choose this one and confirm. Now I can find out who's watched it 95% of the way, and I'll name it 95% video views. Okay, so you create your audience there, and this might take a little bit, so we might have to bounce over to something else. So you see here, Facebook's populating, so it's just figuring out who all those people were. So it might be a couple thousand people. What else could we cover, Josh, while we're waiting for that?
So you find that video is really a good way to.
Yeah, you know, that's just, I've seen tons of people have just a picture and then a written story works really well. For me personally, I get the message across a lot better speaking, right? Because you can see me, you can feel the emotion.
So you haven't done both, so you can't kind of compare.
I've tried both, and I've only really had success with video. I think with certain personalities, some people are writers, right? So if you can write, like you've written a book, so I think written post might work better based on that. But yeah, for me personally, I get the message across a lot better that way. So
yeah, for me so far it's been long story ads, like written.
Oh, it has.
Yeah, I've done video, like I haven't done many for a while, but when I did do it, my results weren't good. Some people weren't resonating with me or wasn't effectively communicating my message. Then when I go into written, it's like all of a sudden my stats are just blowing up, and it's like, okay, well maybe I'm better at writing.
And isn't that interesting, because maybe it's just different people are drawn to one as opposed to the other. Like, you might just be totally hitting a different audience just because yours is written in his video. Like, you're talking about the same thing.
No, you're very right, because like say someone goes and reads a book, and I target the person that reads the book, and then someone that has read one book, if that, or they're forced to in high school, but then they watch a video, and they're like, the person that reads the book might resonate with the written ad because they're used to taking in information that way. But the person that like watches videos might see a video ad and resonate with that because that's how they're used to consuming the information.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's an interesting way to.
okay.
But it doesn't mean don't do videos, because I'll get back into doing them and I want to test them again. I want to see if I can do better than I did last time, if it will improve my current ad copy too. Because you want to test it, because if you look at your audience and it's like 95% like females, and it's like if you stand up and people are watching you and then all of a sudden you communicate your message very well, they could resonate with you, and then you could be selling a lot of books too. So you don't limit to yourself and put yourself in a box. It's like be open to experience and whatever it is. They take the data, and the data is hard and fast. Like that shows you kind of shows you along the path with your audience.
Right. Interesting, yeah, lots to think about.
Yeah.
And the written ad, you just did that yourself, you created it yourself, or it helps you through here a little bit, doesn't it? That's another side of it, is creating that.
Yeah, because every word counts, right?
Yeah.
So I did it myself. I was trained to write a certain way too, to stimulate emotions when someone reads something.
Right.
Because if you that's what copywriting is. Because if you go and you're just writing for the sake of writing, and then someone starts reading it, and then all of a sudden they read it, like no one's gonna read your ad all the way through the ad. But if you write in a certain way, that's effective and gets the person's attention, creates like interest and curiosity within, and make them desire what it is that you're selling them, and then you show them how they get that too. And it's through copywriting skills by learning to write to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it could be a little different,
Yes, absolutely.
than what you're used to, right?
Yeah. Have you guys created any ads yet or not?
No, I just post on Facebook. I haven't created any ads.
Yeah.
Just little things that I do on my website.
Yeah.
I don't actually, my website is one that's company done. So
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, so, and they would have lots of ad material that would probably grab the readers because they'd have professionals.
It's very well done professional.
Yeah,
So let's look at maybe what your target audience would be. Can you promote your business in the US?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do US and Canada.
Actually, I prefer US right now.
Yeah, you want to just do yes?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
It's not available in Canada yet, so people are hesitant.
Okay.
Right, so.
Yeah. What would you say your age range, or, because you could keep it broad again.
25 to,
Drinking age.
the drinking wine, right, so. But
There you go.
most of it are women, I find, but most of them are women, but I go 20, 25, because they're business as well, 25 to say 60? 50? Or 55, 25 to 55.
And I guess you could really just test out brands of wine.
But what it is it's wine's from all over the world.
Mhm.
So it's not any particular brand.
Yeah, I'm just thinking for interests. People are interested in a
Okay,
certain
boutique wines,
boutique wines.
yeah.
Is it like a membership or?
It's another marketing company.
Okay,
It's
so-
membership, yeah.
Do you have another interest possibly? That one wasn't showing up.
Doesn't show up, does wine show up?
Wine shows up. That's a very simple.
Yeah,
Like you said, 70% women, 30% men.
yeah.
See what other pages they like. This is pretty broad too.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
a
don't
lot
know.
of people
You
like
can get
wine.
an idea too, like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unavailable. Convenient.
try refreshing.
so you sell them, how's it work? I'm curious. I go there.
It's
Okay.
business where you buy membership.
Yeah.
You buy, you can get wine shipped right to your house.
So here's a bunch of different pages that these people are interested in. People who like wine are also interested in Patron tequila,
Okay, actually, what I would, then it's real estate,
real estate.
because a lot of realtors do.
Hey, Kobe, maybe before you do that, I just want to show them one thing on this too. This is what I use a lot. You just scroll down a little bit and then see on the right-hand side where it says affinity.
Yeah,
That's like, that's how likely that interest is to like wine as well. So it's like, it is similar interest, like with 12 is a little low, like I've had it where it's over 100. So where you get more specific on your interest, like an author, you might get higher affinity, and that's like how you can draw from your audience as well.
did you say real estate or is this else?
But we look at real estate agents, so
What would you say? Yeah,
I don't know, how can you say, okay, anybody, number one, it's anybody, you don't even have to do anything.
You could even honestly just leave the interest
The
open.
guy who makes most money in this company,
yeah, it's
he just, Mark,
Yeah.
it's a business.
Yeah.
That's really, honestly, that's something a few of my mentors mentioned to me, is it doesn't matter what the product is.
Yeah.
You're branding yourself, especially on Facebook. You're the face of your business, so it's really your story and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
That's what people buy into.
Yeah,
And the product on the back end, if it's a quality product, I'm sure it is, then
Yeah.
like, hey, here's what we got. Hey, Kale. It's my friend Kale. He was calling me, but I wasn't answering because of students, but yeah. Yeah.
So can you use this?
So there's certain interests that become quite expensive because a lot of people target them,
Yeah.
like entrepreneur, network marketing, online marketing, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
They work, but there's a lot of people targeting that, so it gets more expensive. So honestly, you could even do an open interest.
Okay.
It might take a little bit longer, but I've had success there where I've just tested. Like I know you want to do the U.S., but I was doing British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and I think Newfoundland. maybe. I left a few provinces out. So it wasn't all of Canada, it was just those. And then from there, I started getting really good traction and I didn't have any interest. So there's also that. And then again, it just comes down to testing. That's kind of the whole game here, is just really testing, figuring out what's working for you. And let's see if this this custom audience populated. And I know we've got a couple watching, so
Oh, wow. Big comments.
yeah. A little while ago, FB started rejecting my ads. Non-color. Do you sell non-culinary knives, Brian? You know what? Facebook is a little crazy. So, started rejecting your ads because you sell non-culinary knives and they're classified as weapons.
Oh.
Okay.
Somebody
Brian
else.
here. So Brian, you do have non-culinary knives on in your store. What is your store, by the way? Wait for his response. See if the audience. What?
Imagine he sells
Yeah.
for what?
Okay, so I gotta test out something else here. Create an audience, custom audience. I didn't have enough people that had watched it 95% of the way, apparently. The other thing too is you could actually, like, let's say you have 200 people who have signed up for your email list. That means at the time they signed up, they were very interested in what you're promoting. I've actually uploaded that CVS file to Facebook, and then Facebook has that person's name and their email, and then it searches on Facebook to see if those people are on Facebook. Then it figures out what is that person like, and then from there you can create a custom or a lookalike audience. So Facebook will actually populate millions of people who are very similar to those, and then you can now target those people. And that's where stuff gets really interesting, and that's where your numbers come down a lot more.
So the engagement part, so I have a list of, say, 60 names, and I have names and email addresses, let me say that in there.
Let's see here. So you can
You
actually,
should have at least over 100 to start. Like if you have
Mhm.
a list, it should be at least 100 before you start.
Email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be at like a minimum.
yeah, I had about a couple hundred that still, I don't think that was even really enough. Obviously, the more the better, because then you have more data for Facebook.
And that's our customers, like when you start selling a lot of your books, like have their emails, because then you can, any customer, those are people who have bought, right? So their description over someone who is interested is a little bit different.
And still, it's not the type of thing that I'm collecting, because for the most part, it would be sold through Amazon. I'm not connecting with that person at all. Like,
Mhm.
I don't plan on selling direct, so I'm
Yeah.
not shipping it out.
I wonder what information Amazon gives you for your customers, if they give you any information.
Yeah, see, that's something I'd have to check into. I don't know if they do.
Yeah.
They might.
Because they have it.
Because you can advertise through them too, and they must, because their ads must go and target a certain area. So I should really check into how their ads compare. You know, if they have similar types of things where you can select an interest and select an age range, and people who bought similar books, like, you know, you see if you go on Amazon, it'll come up and it'll say people who bought
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
also bought these books, are also, you know, so there must be that type of screening going on.
Right. I have no clue how to advertise.
No, I know, I've never.
Yeah, but again, because I'm not, you know, and the same with KDP, you know, Kindle Direct Publishing and any of those, like,
Right.
you know, I'm actually hands off when it comes to distribution.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, which is, well, what you guys are too, basically.
Yeah.
You know, you're just putting, and then they're signing up, and then the company's taking care of it.
Okay.
It's the same idea. I mean, I'm trying to get people interested, but then I'm actually getting them to go to Amazon to buy.
So I want to show you guys something. Just after I created that custom audience where I chose which video and then the 95%, after that, Facebook asks you if you want to expand your audience. So I said expand my audience. So now I can choose the countries. I just want to use the United States and Canada. Right, so now it's going to search. Look, the closer you go down to 1 or 0, is just how much more alike those people are to the people that watched that video. So you can expand it more where you're going to reach more people, but they might not be as interested as just going with a smaller audience. So you see here, there's 2.3 million people now who are similar to the other people who watched 95% of my video.
Now, when you pay like $5 a day, is that going out to a limited number of people, or?
So that's going out to the 230 to 1,200 per day.
Per day.
Yeah, so obviously the more you spend, the more people will see it. And the cool thing too is that, you know, I used to place ads starting at like 3 in the morning, because then at Easter time, it'd be like 6 a.m. That's when people are getting up. But what I realized is that it doesn't matter, because Facebook is showing it to the person, whether it's 2 in the morning or 4 in the afternoon. People are shopping all the time, right? So you're not going to spend any money unless someone actually sees it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was something that I was doing. It's just like, just start the ad whenever. Don't worry about like starting it off in the morning. Again, is telling me all these things that my audience is too small. You guys get the point though, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's something really cool. And let's see what else. So now I'll show you something else. Okay. I'm gonna go to this other ad account. I'm just gonna black this out for a minute because there's one thing I don't want to show you guys. Okay. I'll be right back. Let's share my screen.
Is it a picture of you in
The
your
word was
underwear?
right. Yeah. They had their specialty ones, and that people can't necessarily get. So
Yeah,
that's
you
why-
can't buy them in the liquor store because they're boutique wineries. Yeah, so
And,
they're red or white. So it's,
and people really want to have that specialty thing that nobody else can get.
well, it's also the idea you can get the Richard Dillon, and you also get, if you have 3 people, you don't pay for your wine, free wine every month.
Also, yeah, 3 other people that sign up under you.
For customers, yeah, customers, you get free wine, yeah. So it's actually the 3rd largest wine club in the world right now.
And
It's the only network marketing one.
What's
Is that
it?
direct sellers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
I know some people in that.
Yeah, so
That's
just coming, yeah.
That's a
it's
good
just
idea.
Yeah, it is.
It's not Canada yet?
If you're gonna drink
Yeah.
wine, might as well make money off of it, right?
Yeah.
Might as well profit,
Exactly, yeah.
right? Like, it's kind of a no-brainer when you really think about it.
Yeah,
You're paying the same in stores and you get it shipped to your house.
yeah, you can't buy it in the store. so that's-
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's in US and Canada, United Kingdom. and
Plus you're selling someone local.
Thank you for
or
bearing
someone-
with me, guys, by the
Yeah,
way. I know this is kind of
2 bottles or 4 bottles.
not really structured.
So if
but
you had-
I hope
if you
it's
were ordering
valuable
12
to everybody
months,
watching right now.
that ordered 2, you still get your free. Even if there's 4.
And so, but you said people sign up for a membership, so then they're paying that amount every month for.
It's at $49 and $79 to pay that amount. And then you get 2
How many
bottles.
bottles do you get for?
You get 2 for 49 and 4 for 79.
So it's a good skill.
Yeah,
That's a
so they're
solid
right at
deal.
your house. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. The option of free.
Yeah.
The option of
Now,
free.
and, so when it comes in, you don't know too much about it coming into Canada yet, well,
October.
yes, but, and so it's wines from all over the world, yeah. Did Corona wines go into that yet?
I don't know.
You don't know that yet?
It's kind of cool because like the value of wine goes up over time, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when you purchase it, it's like your investment isn't going into something that necessarily goes down, it goes up.
Yeah.
I know, but it's $2 a month.
Well, I don't drink that much.
Somewhere else.
I would never go there.
If they heard about this, say, like, get me in. Like,
And then they have friends. And
I'm gonna share my screen again, and
They're all having crazy parties.
here's where
just build a network of 1,000 people.
That's what they do. One person at a time.
all right, so this is kind of where you're gonna see all your numbers. So like, let's say you got an ad up, you've been running it for a couple weeks, and you're starting to maybe get some engagement, maybe people are signing up on your landing page, whatever it may be. I literally just changed all these columns here, and I'll show you how to do that. So like, this is one of my ads. Don't mind the name, it's weird, it was unique to me. And you can see here, Facebook's telling me all these different costs and like all these different people doing different things. So you can really see, like, I got 10 page likes on this one, right? 9 website leads, 1 website purchase, 15 shares, 80 comments, 54 reactions. And then you can see what's the cost per website purchase. In this case, it was $362. So that's what I actually paid in advertising on that specific ad to get that 1 purchase, which is actually pretty good because long term, that's thousands of dollars. So if you know what your customer lifetime value is, which I'm not sure exactly how I've calculated for you guys, I know what it is for me, then you know, like, okay, if I spend $362 and over 6 months, this person is worth $1,200, I'm gonna crank that ad up, right? I'm gonna spend as much as I possibly can on that because it's worth it. In order to break this down, you just go up here, columns, custom columns, and I created a custom one here, but you can customize your columns based on just the numbers you want to see. So I have a lot there just to like show you guys. But here, these are the ones that I mostly look for just because I'm running the engagement one, right? So I'm looking how many people are liking my page, how many people are commenting, reacting, and sharing. And then I look for cost per post comment just because that's the number that really matters to me. Page likes and shares, those are great too, and those leads are potential customers, but this is the cost I'm really looking for. So if I can keep this cost under $5, then if they're quality leads and I'm getting sales in the back end, then it's definitely worth it. So there's other options here as well. These are different ones that I turned off, right? So these are cost per unique link click. You know, let's say you got an ad for like an app or something, you could get paid for how many people you drive there. In this case, it doesn't really apply. Website leads, if I had a landing page and I was running my traffic to a landing page, that would apply. Website purchases, that can also apply too, because eventually I'm getting people to my website to purchase. And, you know, cost per website conversion, that's just if people are, you can set the conversion, you can set it to just emails, or you could set it to people going through a different part of your whole sales funnel.
How do you know that there's a website purchase? How does it know? Or do you
Good
have?
question. I'll show you exactly how that works. So like I was saying earlier, remember how you train Facebook and its artificial intelligence to understand who's buying from you and all that stuff?
Yeah.
So that's what's called a Facebook pixel.
Right.
And it's a little piece of code that you install in every page of your website. So when somebody hits my landing page, that piece of code is linked to Facebook and my ad account, and it'll turn on and it'll say, oh, this person came from Facebook. Here's all their details. They've hit the landing page. Now they've entered their email, and now boom, they've gone to the next page and that code is up again. You're like, oh, that person just converted to a lead. And now that's how Facebook builds your audience essentially, and that's how it tracks who is going all the way through your funnel. So if you go to all these different websites, let's say you go to Netflix or meetup.com. When I was making this Meetup, I went to Meetup and immediately I was seeing ads from Meetup because Meetup has its pixel placed on all its pages, so that it's retargeting me because I visited Meetup. Makes sense, right? Yeah. So you can do the same thing with all your websites. So let's say 10,000 people visit your blog. If you have a pixel in there, you can then retarget those 10,000 people with whatever. So that's how that works, and I'll show you kind of where that is and all that stuff to you.
Facebook
Yeah.
is awesome.
It's like nobody knows that it's this powerful.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like screaming and shouting from the rooftops. I'm like, guys, you gotta look at this.
Well, and you realize that you use Facebook in the sense that all of a sudden I'll start to see ads or things come up on my Facebook, newsfeed. I'm thinking, how did they figure
Sponsored?
out I just read something about that?
Oh, exactly.
You know, like, it's like, you know, they are tracking your
It's not
movement.
intrusive at all.
Huh?
It's not intrusive at all.
It's kind of like, I think in a way it's creepy, but at the same time, at least you're seeing content or ads that maybe are actually applying to you, rather than, right? Like, because I'm seeing all these different ads for online marketing stuff, right? Because that's my whole world. So when I see that, I'm actually seeing ads that are in turn helping me because I'm seeing what other online marketers are doing, and then I can copy and steal what they do and apply it to my own business. So I love the whole thing. Yeah.
Great artist copy.
Great artist steal.
Yeah.
But I did hear that, I mean, that there was some changes being done with Facebook in the sense, I don't know if you know, but at one time you could log on your website and have it repost to Facebook, to your page there. And then then I heard that they had changed that if you're doing that, that Facebook was starting to cut, or, you know, well, they had changed something in their code just, not to stop that, but they weren't allowing you to target people, or I don't know, something like that. Like they don't want it working that way or something. Oh, I can't remember.
I know Facebook is finicky with certain things. It's constantly changing. Like it's different than it was 2 weeks ago. Like we're literally, when I just went to go create a custom audience with you guys, I was like, what changed, right? Like
Yeah.
that's.
But you can, but now I think you can create the post on Facebook and have it go to your website, which I don't think you could do before, and maybe that's why they want you to go the other way. They don't want you to go from the website to Facebook, they want you to go from
To Facebook.
Facebook to website.
Well, Facebook wants you, will reward you for staying on that platform, because that's where they want, like, they don't want people going off their website, because they want users using their website. But like, they'll still, if you have advertisers, they'll still allow you to, like, it's not something you can't do.
Yeah. What do you guys know about Google AdWords and stuff like that? Is that, and is it?
It's a different ballgame, like, it's
You get
like,
to drive people to your website? Or
yeah, you do this,
Yeah, I haven't used the keywords and everything. I haven't really looked into it in depth, but it's interesting.
I've looked at the cover of some books on it, but never actually read it.
Yeah.
I've
What kind of success anybody has with that?
I know some people that do really well with it, like he's on it, like right on it. He's using keywords, and there's different bots that will come in and just ramp up his costs, and then all of a sudden, if you didn't watch it, you spend $1,000 or something like that. But like he makes that up in different months or whatever. But it's a different game like than Facebook. You just gotta know the rules, know how to play it, and and play within their sandbox, because like they're at the mercy of them, I guess. But we get to use them too. Like we get access to billions of people.
Yeah, you can see how many people type in laptop case,
Yeah.
right? Right from that.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's really cool, right?
Yeah.
If you're the first one or the first couple,
Mhm.
you know, it's like an interesting blog or an interesting site or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad just got into doing a lot of that, like SEO for businesses, and it's like I used to do that for a company too. And that was like a few years ago, but through what I read up, like 42% of the people that type in a search will click that first organic, not the ads, they know that organic, and then it goes down to about half of that, like 23, and then it goes down to like 17. So like you're capturing 50% or less than 42% of those searches that type in on Google how to lose weight if you're ranking for that. That's highly competitive, that term, and people are probably paying like thousands a month, thousands. But there's little micro niches, like kind of what we're showing here. Like you're finding little micro niches within your large audience, and then you create ads that serve those audiences, and then within those small ones, you can start like kind of finding like the fish in that small pond kind of thing, and then you start moving bigger to a lake, and then you start moving to the ocean, which is the broader audience. But you want to like, well, personally, like I start with a smaller audience and kind of build outwards from there.
Cool. Yeah, that's pretty much most of what I can share with you guys. I know Brian here, this guy who is watching us live, was just kind of talking about some stuff with his business. So he has Sergeant Pepper's Army Surplus, and he hadn't posted anything about weapons, but they blocked his ads because he sold weapons. He posted ads for army boots, and they blocked him. But later, he posted ads for knives, and they let it through. That's Facebook. And so they just blocked his ads. It wasn't disabled or flagged.
Somebody probably complained.
Yeah.
Really weird that happened to me yesterday. I went and I edited my ad, and I don't have them running right now. And then I edited the ad, and then I get an email this morning saying Facebook like disapproved all my ad sets, and I'm like, I'm not even running any traffic, but it's because I went in and I edited something, and then after their compliance people came in and they looked at it, and they're like, oh, this isn't compliant for some reason. So now, like, I'm like, okay, I want to make sure that I'm compliant and I'm reading up and learning like how to actually change the wording so that it will get approved, but it could be based upon the person that's seen it too. Because at Facebook, apparently, like, it's like, I've never been to the office, but what I've heard, it's just like, it's a bunch of 20-some-year-olds that are in the compliance office and are looking at these ads and going, approve, disapprove, approve, disapprove. And it's like, if the person's having a bad day, maybe they'll disapprove. If the person's having a great day, and then there's different levels to it too. Like, they have automatic approval, then they go into where you have to go a little bit deeper, where they have someone actually manually going through it, and then they're reading through it, and then it's based on that person. But then then I'm going to a level where they read through the post, they'll actually click, and they'll continue to go through your websites and your funnel to see if you're complying on Facebook. And if you're not, they can shut you down for anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. I've known people that have been shut down for 24, 48 hours.
Yeah.
1 week. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been shut down. It's not fun. But I just gotta
You're
go.
not alone, so.
Yeah, I just gotta learn how to deal with them though.
Yeah.
Right? It's like hockey, for instance. You're not gonna change the rules that have been in place for years.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta play within those rules and figure out how to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you do from here? Okay, so when you're doing this, so what's your marketing objective? So is that right?
Yeah, it's hard to say, Brian. I'm just talking, Brian.
Yeah.
You guys, you continue what you're doing.
Under your website too, like to start.
Yeah, Brian.
Like, how you use engagement posts.
I don't know. It's tough to say. Like,
And once you know that your engagement ad is gathering,
you can
leads,
generate
then you can
other
change your website conversion
people
ad,
interested
because
in stuff
this
that's
is
similar to
this
that,
is
but just
good
leave
for
the knives out.
So what happens is when someone sees your ad
Mm-hmm.
and then they start liking it, they start commenting, people are interested in it.
Yeah.
And then once you see there's nothing
Okay.
interested, you put a link in your post.
It could just be one of those things where somebody was just like, flag it. Honestly, try again, make some changes, make everything as different as possible, while still kind of offering the same thing. And see if that works. Because if your ad account isn't disabled or flagged, I've had one ad that's exactly the same as a previous ad, and for some reason it got flagged. The people liked watching it, didn't like it, and it's just redo everything, but all kind of the same, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, on your ad or?
On my page, on my Facebook page.
Like the more info or the
Yeah.
click here to buy.
Yeah,
they'll
yeah.
be able to-
Yeah, so they would know that, 'cause,
So I
you
hope
know,
that helps,
earlier
Brian.
he said, I said, well, how did you know about purchases? Well, they would know.
They
We're
wouldn't-
gonna get into the
They
end
wouldn't know
here,
100% if they actually
so,
purchased when they got to Amazon, but
you know, if that, I hope that helps.
Hit that link,
You know, just retry
maybe
things,
they would.
and if you want,
Yeah,
I'll
Interesting.
well, they would know, I just don't know where to find that.
Give you my email.
Analytics.
Let me know how that
To
works.
see.
You know, if you're able to
I
just
have-
change things
I have my
around,
own
try it
tab,
again,
for instance,
then,
and someone reads it and they click. I can know how
see if
many
that works.
people clicked, I can know how many people read, I can know how many people like commented on my one ad.
On your one app, but then do you have that little, like, that link, how do you get their email address? They must click on something.
Right now, I'm not
Oh,
collecting email address, I'm doing a kind of a different strategy, it's just, I'm getting comments, and from that comment, I have a bot set up that automatically sends them.
Okay, Brian,
their
so
information
hope
right
that
on
helps.
Facebook. And
Again,
then
let me
when-
know,
when they
and
comment,
I'll talk to
they-
you soon, okay?
and,
I'm gonna
and they-
sign off here.
They get a message immediately from me or my
Cool.
bot acting
Glad to
on
hear
my
it.
behalf. And if they
Awesome.
respond back, they've now subscribed to my bot, so I can send
Appreciate it,
one
man.
message and.
So,
right now, my list is
Yeah,
super
if you have
small,
more
it's like
questions or
73
anything,
people.
if you have
But like
troubles,
I
thanks a
send a
lot.
message,
Talk
and
soon.
instead of sending it just to like one person, I send it to 30 people, or sorry, 70 people. And then a certain amount of those